absolutely pro entrepreneurship, absolutely against huge $1 million expectations. There's the statement that I've been trying to make.
I've also heard you say, which was really interesting, that if you were to have your time over, from a financial perspective at least, and please do clarify on this, you would almost choose to keep a high salary paying job, stay an employee, and not go into the entrepreneurship space. I'd love for you to talk to that, and where do you currently stand in that balance between passion, risk, and happiness and freedom?
It's really hard. You know what I mean? It's very hard for me because I think having achieved, what we've achieved in terms of material numbers, I don't know if the audience knows, but
you're doing like $85 million a year, right? Revenue?
Yeah.
Big numbers.
And so, yeah, just for context for the audience. So it's not like we just sold a 7-figure course and like we're posting about Lambos and stuff. We've achieved a material amount, and it continues to pump out cash flow every day. And I just know how little it affected my life, but I will say that money created space for me to have better thoughts. And so I would say I'm definitely more content about life now than I ever have been. But it's taken me a long time to get here. I don't think I was naturally a happy person. I was naturally very hardworking. I was naturally inclined to sacrifice, which I think led well to entrepreneurship, because I was just willing to trade anything, because so in some ways I wasn't that content doing anything. And so I was like, I might as well just work all the time. And in some ways the work distracted me from the discontent that I was suffering from in my life. And so I was very content being fully stimulated all the time by work. And there's not many things that stimulate you like entrepreneurship does. And I still believe that to this day, just because the game changes. But I think the point of the specific statement that you were referencing is that I think there's many more people that I think would be well served just continuing in a high paying career path. If the goal is financial freedom, there's a lot of broke business owners, and that's the thing that like Instagram doesn't show. Like the median income for a business owner is $50,000 a year. Like it's like everyone's like, I even said, I was like, someday I'd like to own my own business. If I said someday I'd like to make $50,000 a year, I think people would probably take that differently, right? Mind you, that's the median. It means half the people are below that. So like context, right? It matters. And unless you're willing to, like, you have to have some sort of like sadistic side or masochistic side of yourself that like is just willing to endure years, not months of suffering and punishment, because it is not an easy game. It is a very thankless game. And and maybe I would have experienced this either way, and maybe I'm just voicing the discontent of life, right? But I would say that now we've achieved enough now that I very much enjoy the game, and it's just like I just recognize how statistically rare the outcome that I have accomplished is. And so as much as there is this desire in the influencer space to be like, do what I did, you can do it, be like me, whatever that mantra is. I'm not saying that me personally. I think that there's a lot more credit to, I mean, there's credit is due in investment bankers who make $3 million a year and have a job. There's management consultants who make $1 million a year. And that's income, not revenue, right? And that's a big other point, is that people hear that a dry cleaning business does $600,000 a year, but they don't look at the owner income, which is $60,000 or whatever it is. It's not nearly as high. And then you also have, and this is the piece that I think most people miss, is that the stress associated with that is high. And so I'll tell you a quick story that I think might illustrate this or make this real. So if you were to go to Thanksgiving dinner, right, and say, hey, grandma, and this is kind of like, I have this paper sketch it's the fallacy of never enough. But in our minds, we think, if I just made an extra, insert number, I'll be secure. I'll feel good. I'll be wealthy. Insert whatever good feeling you have, right? And I think some people know that that's probably not true, but I'll just show it with numbers. So if I make $1 million a year in take-home income on a $10 million business, okay, top line. So 10% net margin, that's fairly common. You know what I mean? For a business, we run better margins than that because we've taken a lot of time to do that. But a lot of businesses run 10, 15% margins, and that's very normal, right? And you could go to dinner at your family's house and you could say, hey, I'm making $1 million a year. They're like, why are you stressing about money? You're making $1 million a year. But to the entrepreneur, they realize that they have they have like a month and a half of cash flow
Hmm.
because your fixed costs are $833,000 a month. Right? Or sorry, now you're fixed. If you're making $1 million, then it would be whatever, $750,000 a month in fixed costs.
Yeah.
So it's like I gotta make $750,000 before I start making my first dollar. That could be heavy. And I remember when I had my 6 gyms at the time, I mean, I was 24, 25 years old, and I was explaining to my then girlfriend, now wife, I was like, I have to make $100,000 every month. Every month, I have to make that before I get to make any money. And so it was just this like this weight, this heaviness. Now, obviously, you get into the game, you do it enough times, and you get better at it, and eventually it starts becoming normal because you just adapt to it. But I'm just saying it's heavy for everyone, and if anyone's getting into it, this is not. I feel like I've become like anti-entrepreneurship. That is not my point here. I'm just saying it's a hard path. Both paths are hard. Some people are not fit for entrepreneurship, and I think that there will be probably some swing back in the pendulum of entrepreneurship will not be as cool in 10 years or something. I think that might be the case. On the flip side, you might have a lot more multi-gig people, gig economy with multiple side hustles, things like that. That'll end up happening. But anyhow.
No, I think that's a really important perspective because, as you said, on Instagram, social media, it's very glorified at the moment and everyone wants to have a crack. And I actually think that's amazing. Like, I'm an optimist and very positive person about this. And I'm like, that's incredible that you can find something that you're passionate about and build a business out of literally anything. I think you can literally build a business around any subject matter, but it's really hard work to make it work in certain fields and industries, and more so than others, some more than others.
Let me put this one caveat. Absolutely pro entrepreneurship, absolutely against huge $1 million expectations. There's the statement that I've been trying to make. Absolutely pro entrepreneurship, absolutely against you thinking you're going to be in the 1% your first year. That's all.